My name is Mike Bourque, and I'm the Vice President of IT at Boston College. I've been the CIO at Boston College for a little more than 10 years. And earlier in my career, I spent 20 years in industry in aerospace and software. So, but I've loved being in higher education. I wanted to, describe what we have done and why we are where we are and where we hope to go with this. And please, I'll entertain any questions as we go along. But first, we set forth on this approximately 10 years ago, where we developed a vision. We really developed a vision, which we were calling then services-oriented architecture for our systems portfolio at the university. We thought that that architecture was going to allow us the flexibility to work in a world that was to come, the world of the cloud, with services perhaps on campus or out in the cloud. I use the expression here, there, and elsewhere. And that is kind of what's evolved, is this concept of a hybrid cloud, right? Where we have services here in our on-premises, a variety of services. We use all kinds of software as a service around the globe and so forth. And this architectural model has really been an important part of our vision. But as we started this journey, we really had three things that we were really looking for. We were looking to go down a path that would allow us to deliver great functionality to our users in a model that was very incremental, right? That was very incremental and modular and could adjust as the world changes, as business needs changed, or as available solutions changed. And we really had a vision. We had a vision of being part of a community. And we liked this idea. We started with a community, what was called Community Source Project. Some of you may have heard it, with an organization called Koali. We were working with them and trying to, be part of a longer lasting community. And we thought it met the three major things that we were interested in. One, that open source community source initiative had the architectural model was consistent with our visions and our hopes, allowing us to have that incremental modular delivery in an emerging hybrid cloud model, allowing us to deliver first to the architectural model, second, great potential, and third, the community model to support it and to have it go for the long run. We often say, it may be a trite expression, but if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go long, go together. And our hope was what we would be going together. But when we were looking at our options, we joined with that group, and that group ended up disbanding. Meanwhile, while our evaluation of that group's product, we started implementing modules of a larger portfolio that enabled us to deliver value and mitigate risk of legacy systems that were very old and tough to maintain compliance with US government regulations or functional needs and just modern expectations. So we took this incremental approach we implemented a financial aid system. We implemented a variety of things along the way, an enrollment management modeling application, and we were providing value to the university while we mitigated risk and while we evolved our architectural model. But somewhere along the line, in about 6 years ago, that Koali initiative kind of fell apart for a variety of reasons. And we were left to evaluate our options. And as we evaluated our options, the way I described it is we had 6 bad options. And those 6 bad options were, kind of the leading packages of the day. The idea of the Koali company starting up as a company that predicted it would deliver a full student system. At this point, Workday had just entered the market for a student system after having earlier said they would not develop a student system, that they would develop a student system now. But at that point, there were very, very restrictive structures to their architecture in terms of how you could integrate and what you could integrate. So in other words, our newly implemented financial aid model was going to have to be supplanted by their financial aid model version 1 whenever it was developed. So we had a lot of difficulty as we evaluated our options. We brought in a third-party firm that had some expertise in Workday, some expertise in Oracle, some expertise in even Koali, the Koali project, and a variety of these companies. And we brought in this third-party firm to help us execute on what we call our due diligence, the thoughtful analysis of these options so that we were doing what was right for the university in the long run. And as I said, we felt these were 6 very, very difficult options, but we had to pick what we thought was best based on the state of the vendor options, the flexibility, the fit with our model, and the likelihood that we could be successful. So about 5 years ago, we made the selection of, we were going to fork the code from that open source project called Koali and create our own project that we now call EagleApps. And EagleApps would be based on that source product, that original product, which was the product of many universities' intellectual contributions in terms of technical architecture and functionality and design. So we were benefiting from the product of a far broader community. But now we needed to get this thing done. And that's where I get to we needed to go fast. So we end up doing it on our own. And as we did that, we picked that up thinking initially that based on the information we got from the Koali project manager, was that the system was largely 60 to 70% complete. So our estimates and plans were based on those. As we got further into it, we found those were overly optimistic. And so we've had to do more work and it's taken us longer. But we assembled a team. We assembled a team of including very key people from that Koali project, including a few of the people you hear on the phone today, Tom Capetto and Norm Wright, who had been the lead architects for this system. Steve Barnhart, who had been a functional lead for things like registration. I think Steve was from the University of Southern California. So it was not this system has roots that are very, very broad. And then BC became kind of the trunk of developing this thing. And, but being able to bring Tom and Norm on board and Steve on board, plus development teams that that Koali had been using, really enabled us to have some success here. So we went out after we finished our due diligence and put together a project plan, a business plan for how we might be able to accomplish this in a reasonable amount of time with a reasonable amount of expenditure. And we went out we did a formal request for proposals for a development partner. And as a result of that, we selected Sigma Systems, who was our financial aid partner. And Sigma has been one of our, the word partner is used often in high tech, right? But I would say in my 30 plus years, too many years of experience in IT, Sigma has been one of the best and truest partners we've ever encountered. So we selected Sigma as a result of this RFP process, request for proposals, as our development partner. And we put together a team with Sigma, with these key resources such as Norm Wright, Tom Capetto, and Steve Barnhart, and offshore development resources who had been participating, development resources in India and in South Africa that had been working on the Koali project, that had certain skills, had certain capabilities, and had a certain price point that were going to enable us to be successful. So that's the path we went down some number of years ago. And it had great appeal, but we knew it was going to be a long, long, difficult journey. As we brought this on, we internally had some delays due to internal struggles. We did not have our staffing model up to where it is now or where it should have been. We didn't have appropriate business analyst skills. And you'll hear from folks like Dan Higgins and Jen Mack today, who really represent us being in a good position in terms of the user community, understanding what they need and how to get it. And they've been great partners with us. We also were bringing on this concept of Agile Development, which was relatively new to us, and we struggled with it. We were far from expert at the beginning, and we had to go up a fairly serious learning curve. But even with the aid of our development partners and with our user partners, people like Jen, we have been able to really get effective in that. we needed to introduce the concept of DevOps. You always hear about DevOps in the technology market space, how important that is. And our chief technologist here, who had driven this architectural model, has really driven that to be how we operate, with this kind of team-oriented mindset to making things happen. And when we adopted that and started to perfect that, our effectiveness in terms of development really increased. So prior to that, we would have things working well in a development environment, but move it into a formal test environment, and the same thing wouldn't work because we had instability in our environments. It was too long to build an environment, too inconsistent and so forth. And we really adopted the DevOps mindset. We were able to really boost our velocity. Meanwhile, back at the ranch here at BC, the world was changing. We had new executives coming in and new initiatives, and we needed to bring on other projects in other areas. We needed to put in a customer resource management system, customer relationship management system for our advancement office. So here in the States, advancement, fundraising, philanthropy is a big part of a university. Very crucial, very high profile. We also needed to implement a customer relationship management system, kind of a recruiting system for our enrollment management folks. And we had a variety of other things going on, upgrading our financial system, upgrading our human resource system, all our big applications. So we could not just, focus on this thing, but we had this model, this architectural vision allowed us to deliver on other valuable systems in parallel with this effort. So now, go back about 1.5 years ago, we went live with our first big module that we had developed on our own. We were already live with a curriculum management module that came from Koali, but about 1.5 years ago, we went live with our student accounts module. This student accounts module was a very difficult thing for us to develop and develop well, because it was really the first one we were doing on our own. And we had we met all these challenges of Agile Development, DevOps, and so forth. But we tested, and we found we needed to delay 1 year. So it didn't go in until about 1.5 years ago. So that would be 2018, mid-year 2018. But when it went in, I think the user community has been favorably impressed with the reliability of it, the flexibility of it. And I think they went into it thinking, everybody was nervous that when we went into this, we would have so much rework to do, so many bugs to do, that we would not be able to attend to other initiatives. But in reality, when we went live with it, it has been very solid. I'm not aware of any problems getting to the provost level. The users have our team has been able to work with the user community to address issues and to continue to develop functionality in that. And that's been a key substantiation of the value of the application, the value of the approach, and our ability to maintain this thing moving forward. But now moving forward, we're in the throes of completing the rest of the enrollment management functionality, and the folks speaking after me will give you the details on that. And that's got us excited on campus, excited that we can, now benefit in a broader area and modernize what we run. Our legacy system that's currently running is a 35-plus-year-old mainframe PL1 program against VSAM files. And so to get into the modern generation, to get in an architecture where we can address issues on an ongoing basis and increase the capability, the functional capability in a modern architecture, holds a lot of potential for us. So now, as we get to this point, we're now looking to go from that, going fast, doing it alone, to going long and rebuilding a sense of community, such that we would, our goal has always been that we would not be the only school to use this thing. We've made a big investment, and we're hoping that this investment in this product is demonstrated by its adoption by universities beyond Boston College. So working with Dexterra over the last year or so, we came up with this idea of, let's try to build a community, and let's try to find a way that we could, as a community, develop a long-range plan and a long-range model for extension of the application and support and maintenance of the application. If we have to do it alone, we can and will do it alone. However, that's not the nature of Boston College. I think we have some representatives from a sister Jesuit school in Barcelona on the call today. We want to do more and do more for the world, and we want to help out. We help out a lot of schools in the Boston area, a lot of schools, Jesuit schools in the United States, and we're all about community. So it fits that model, and it fits that drive and our strategic value of having impact locally and globally. So anyway, I want to just go back to the three things I talked about: the functional potential of this approach, the functional potential we're realizing first. Second, the architectural model that allows for incremental and modular adoption of capabilities in a hybrid cloud model. And three, this community environment, this community model of supporting, maintaining, and extending it. Those are the three big, I'd say, three big timbers of our building here. So with that, I think I'll open it up to questions or turn it back to Dale. Dale?